Okay, welcome to the Bookmap Live Order Flow Advanced Analysis. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Risk disclaimer, trading equities and futures involves substantial risk of loss, is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so let's jump in here. Yeah, that is funny. Well, that's not necessarily true, Carl. It could be that you can see but could not hear. That's happened to me several times. So I don't follow your logic on that one, but you got me. You got me good. But I appreciate that. That was funny. All right, so let's take a look here at some of the markets. We're going to get a bigger overview picture first. What's going on? I was kind of debating between earlier going through NASDAQ or maybe oil, crude oil, but because some interesting stuff here in crude, breakout right back into the middle of the range here, but pretty strong breakout here in NASDAQ. We've accepted so far and have not come back down yet. However, we may, and definitely stronger than the S&P, as you can see here. So we'll continue on with the NASDAQ. Now, this is actually pretty interesting. This is something that we've been seeing over the months here, how the NASDAQ has been stronger than the S&P, and the S&P really hasn't been moving, but the NASDAQ has just been going great. And then we saw it. We've also seen times when it's completely non-correlated, and it's odd to see with the other stock indexes like the S&P, and behaving differently. And then last week, I think it was, I don't know, Wednesday, we just the fundamentals involved in the marketplace. We were not really looking for, we were looking for a very choppy day in Bookmap in the order flow. And it certainly was. And the reason being is that there was going to be earnings later that day for Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and some others. So obviously, we're waiting for that kind of news, and we're going to have a really choppy day usually. That's not always the case, but that's what was the case last week. And we noticed it immediately how the market was giving us a pretty the order flow was really not only choppy but trappy. So we'd break out in an area and then come right back down, and it would not be sustained whatsoever. And based on seeing that in Bookmap, we anticipated that price action for the rest of the day, and it was very much like that. So just getting that understanding of what price is doing, and in the order flow here, and then looking for similar moves, all right, for the rest of the day here. In our case, that was based on some fundamental news, but anticipating that fundamental news. Now, what do we see here in Bookmap today? Okay, so we have non-farm later this week. It's not a lot of news coming out, but we can see that we actually have a pretty nice overview here of the 9:30 open, very aggressive move to the upside, and it was continued from this point here. You can see high liquidity here in the book, okay, around this 35 level, and we see a nice flip of that right up here in this area here around 37. It's actually even up above where we broke from. Okay, so that's pretty aggressive so far. And we can see that we had a nice little double top here. So we do have some order flow kind of flip here. We're going to see it as we zoom in. But then again, we're looking for these kinds of patterns back down in this area here. Okay, so is this trend going to resume to the downside? Or the bigger picture, are we going to get kind of another like double bottom here, and then we're going to break? We're looking for, and we see this pattern again and again, and mostly in crude, to be honest. It's very distinct in crude, at least. We're looking for this kind of maybe double bottom here, and then the aggressor to come in and then pull price back up and have a resumption of the trend. Okay, this was something we were looking for, I think, on Friday, and that's exactly what occurred. Okay, so we want to keep an eye out, and the order flow is going to tell us. Okay, so now before I get into that, let's see, Darcy, you have a question. Is Bookmap having an issue with the delta? Theoretical average shouldn't be. Darcy, you're talking. That's actually not our indicator. That's a proprietary indicator through S5. Oh, so you're using 5.0. First off, I would recommend just going with 6.1, Darcy. So just upgrading Bookmap. I've been using 6.1 for quite a while. It's very solid. Okay, so it's the new beta version, and we're going to have another beta version coming out pretty soon, and probably around the end of the year. And then 6.1 is going to be the new regular version. Okay. Yeah, not sure. Darcy, try this. Come up here to your configurations first, and make sure that your indicators here is selected. All right. So make sure that you get all your indicators. Secondly, click here under Studies Configuration, and then let's see, I have it here. So you'll have to mark it here. Let's click on it, and yeah, that should do the trick. Okay. Phil, okay, great question here, because it's something I continue to forget to cover here. Phil is asking about what are some of the new features in 6.1. All right, well, let me point you guys toward that. So first off, under Bookmap intro, it's just watch the 6.0 right here, the overviews. Most of the new features are in this video here. However, let's go to features and components. All right, and there are some more. So let's scroll down under that features and components to the bottom here, and there's two other new features in the new build 58. Okay, on the candlesticks, you can watch that. It's just a couple minutes, and then this aggregate volume counter for the last traded volume. Okay, and that's this number here. Okay, so it's more advanced and offering more transparency for you guys. Okay, so watch those and their new videos, as well as we have some new videos here for the one-click trading, that the trade control panel, as well as the one-click trading from the Bookmap chart. Okay, all right. Okay, well, yeah, we can see that now we broke this level here, traded through, and now we're back down into this kind of point of control of this trading range here. And let's see if we get follow through to the upside, or to the downside, or if we this is a false breakout or breakdown, and we'll trade back into this area. Now, that said, again, like yeah, I mean, it's Monday. The majority of the news is going to be on Friday. So, when we see, the market's waiting for that news, is waiting for that insight. Now, if the majority of the traders speculate that we're going to get really good numbers, then you'll see the market trend on Monday and Tuesday really hard. And then probably go sideways on Wednesday and Thursday before the news, something like that. So we want to be aware of that. However, most of the time, I shouldn't say most of the time. One of the other scenarios on the bigger picture here is that we're just going to get trappy days with price. All right, so until we get the numbers on Friday. All right, so we got to get into the live order flow here, because we're seeing some good stuff and starting to miss it as I cover some of these other things. All right, so we were looking for that potential for that double bottom pattern here and then that continuation to the upside, or if we were going to get, we saw the high liquidity here up at 37, and you can see that we traded down through that area. Okay, so did we trade? All right, well, you can see that the way that they're layering in here, these are larger players, okay, because every other tick, they're providing high liquidity. And how did they behave? Okay, they pulled. Okay, they pulled here. Let's zoom in more. They pulled at this price level at 38, at 37 and a half, and then it looks like they did get filled here. And let's just zoom in. You know, they pulled again, but let's see, did we have our iceberg on? Looking for icebergs immediately. Okay, yep, it's on. So, and I don't see any icebergs either. All right, so what we're seeing here is they're pulling even on this level here, but we see the aggressor on the sell side. That's what's going on here. Okay, so the sellers are completely in control at this point here. All right, and all of this liquidity here was fake. Right, it didn't trade, and the majority of it. All right, so what we're seeing is the sellers take control, pull the market down, and we even look at our pullbacks here. This is the pattern that we look for on these pullbacks. Now, we can put these pieces together, and if this is the case, and that there are sellers here, okay, and we know that we just checked it out, right? We're looking for a return back to these areas here, around this 37 level, and maybe here as well, because this is pretty aggressive move. But we're looking for them to step up again with the selling, and we're looking for a pullback to these areas, and for that aggressor to come right back in. Okay, and let's see, where did we go to? Okay, well, we went to a little bit higher actually. So we didn't go to one of the bigger dots. We actually went to this kind of smaller dot here, and then you can see that you know, we see a little bit of aggressive buying, but we exhaust out up here in this little area here at this 36 and a quarter, and then the aggressor resumes right here afterwards. Okay, so these guys that you know, looking for the maybe breakout up into, you know, maybe 38, or looking for, you know, higher prices here, these guys are going to be trapped here, and the aggressor resumes again, and interesting to see this retest back to these areas here, but and at this point, we can just start to assume sideways action, because we're also exhausting out down here. We don't see a lot of trading down here. Okay, but then we do see some selling, but some buying here as well. So still some sideways action, a little tricky, but the aggressor comes in here at 33, and then hits the bid pretty hard. Okay, so and that's below the swing here. All right. So anyway, the analysis, all right, based on this move here, and this pulling of this liquidity here, and that we know that this is aggressive selling in control. Okay, we're anticipating that to occur again. Right? There's nothing in the chart since then that tells us anything differently. Okay, I mean, yeah, we could see aggressive buyers come in, or we could, I mean, anything can happen, right? But we really don't. We don't get any pullbacks to where we broke from up here. We don't even get the pullback to this area here at 37. Okay, doesn't quite make it, and then you can see this little retest here back in the structure as we're going sideways. We don't come back up and even test the little high right here, and then yeah, sellers start to come in here, but it's really here at 33 that the sellers, you know, they drive price lower. Okay, so looking for a retest of this area now at 33. Okay, we almost get it here, right? Let's see, what is this price level? This is 32.5. Okay, and then we continue to the downside here. All right. Okay, now that picture looks different. All right, and Boy, I like covering the live order flow for you guys. It's just trying to educate and get these points across because we're going to see it in the live order flow. All right. And this is where we see a little bit of a shift here. I mean, we see them here too. I mean, aggressive buyers coming in, right? And then again here, okay? And then looking for potential flip, you know, in the aggressor here, okay? And then that's how we get these patterns as well as like these kind of, I mean, this is like a double bottom here, but you know, you'll see the aggressor come in, and you know, we've come back up. We have not come up and tested above this swing here yet. Okay, but looks real poised to do that right now. Let's see if we can get up here to where we broke from, around 38 now. Okay. Okay, interesting point too. What about the absorption here, right? I don't really see it. You know, I mean, we're seeing the you know, them pulling again here as well, the buyers. Okay, I mean, we see these massive transactions, but you know, then we see it dry up down in this area here. Okay, and we test several times, in fact, looking for that aggressor here, looking for that aggressor that we saw over here, and they just didn't come, right? Okay, so basically you can see the lack of action here. Okay, and then we see the buyer step in here. Okay, now they could be trapped as well if the aggressor resumes, and they could right here. We've seen that many times. Okay, but they didn't. Come back up, and then it's these areas here where we're looking for. This area is a good example, a great example. Okay, we saw the buyers start to step in here. Okay, and then we exhausted out up into this 31 and a quarter, looking for more volume to trade up here at this 31 and a quarter, right? And we get a little bit, but it's not enough. And then we do here. That's where they step in, looking for a pullback to where we just traded from. We get it here, and then more buyers start to step in. Okay. All right, let's go to the current market, and what is it telling us now? All right, well, no, not enough buying there for sure. The sellers are coming right back in, and we're coming down to the lows yet again here. Okay, so let's see if those sellers show up this time and hit 28 and maybe 27. Okay, pull back to this volume dot here. Okay, at 31. Okay, it's starting to exhaust out here. Okay, so let's see if those buyers step in here, right? And where are they going to take it? Well, I'm looking for a retest of like, you know, 32 and a quarter maybe right here. Okay, and then I want to see if the sellers resume. There's our retest. Okay, and let's see, now we're looking for exhaustion here. Okay, another retest here. Okay, buyers could step in. That's one of the scenarios here. Or we could see exhaustion, and then we can see the sellers resume on the other side here. Okay, probably right around here, right now. Okay, let's see if the sellers come in, and then we'll pull it down into the high liquidity that's down here now, actually at 29 and a quarter. Okay, not enough yet. There they come. All right, now they're starting to pull here. Here they come. All right, there you go. Nice example, played out in real time. All right. Okay, let's see now. We need, if they're in control, we need more down here, more selling down here. Okay, and we'll test probably pretty quickly down to this 27 and a half and 27 here. Okay, still looking for absorption, just not seeing any yet, or you know, on the bigger picture, I should say. Let's see here, question. Well, the something that here they come. This is so this is what we were looking for, right? We saw the cluster here. It started to exhaust that, and we needed more down here, and finally we got it. Still, high liquidity is down here at 27, and looks pretty poised to test. There we go. There's our test. Okay. Okay. Let's zoom out now. Okay. Let's get our bigger picture. What's going on now? Okay. Where are we? All right. Well, yeah. I mean, not kind of in the middle of nowhere. I mean, still looking for then some of the targets might be some of these swings. Here's where we broke from down here in this little swing from pre-market. And then we're going to look at a POC as well, probably of this area. And where is that? Here it is here. Okay, so probably around that 22 and a half area. Okay, so those are the levels I'm looking for. And then we're looking at this swing up here. Okay, that's pretty important swing for around this 35 and a quarter. Okay. All right. Where was their head fake with the selling? Well, I don't know if they're. I mean, I would say probably to make sure. Yeah, I'm not quite understanding your question, Nick, but I think this analysis here can really give some insight in this area. Okay, because first we see the well, we've been reading it pretty nicely the entire session so far. We saw the nice move to the upside, the breakout, right, on our higher time frame, and price and acceptance above an area. But we see a distribution pattern up here, a double top. Okay, and then you can see that the nice cluster of selling down here. So we're looking for, to test where we broke from, maybe down at this 36 area here. We broke out, well, maybe a little higher, 37, and here they are. They're lined up, right, to buy. So it looks like it wants to accept. Okay, therefore, based on this, the first scenario we were looking for was this distribution pattern, sideways action, another like a kind of a double bottom here, and then for price to trade up above 42 here, and then to see the aggressor come in on the buy side. Okay, that would be that, and then trend resumption. Okay, so that's what one of the scenarios we'd be looking for. The other one is the continuation. This distribution pattern is true. Sellers are in control, and then we start to see it trend to the downside, and that's the one that played out here. And what gave us insight on that was here. Okay, I mean, obviously the break already happened, but we understand that this liquidity here pulled. Okay, and this is just aggressive selling. Right, so we're looking for them to resume again. All right. And they did. All right. Okay. Okay. Now you can see we've this selling down here. Buyers stepped in, and we're in a range now too. Okay, above 29. Right. That's something to note. Now we need to get above. We need to see. It's the swing here. What we want to take a look at now is the aggressive buyer going to come in and trade above here with in an auction here. We want to see a lot of buying, green dots above this little swing here, and then we can test our level that we just drew in here around 36. Okay. So first off, we didn't get it. Okay. So back into the range here. All right. Now let me adjust my heat map a bit. This is up pretty high. All right. Okay, sellers come right back in again here. Okay, we're back down below now this range, but this is the trap. This is that range bound activity where we see all the time. We're in this kind of. Let me draw it in. Okay, this is our bigger range. Here's our smaller range. Okay, so this is trap volume at the moment, but we did not come up and trade above the swing up here at 33. Okay, so now we're trading down below our range, our micro range here. So looking for a retest of the bottom here around this 26, 27 level. Okay, and then let's take a look at the order flow. Okay, so are we going to trade in this range or are we going to break it here? Here comes our retest. Here's 26. Okay, and let's see if the sellers come in, and maybe we'll dip one more time here and then trap some sellers and then come back up in this bigger range. Okay, now if that is the case, we're looking for that buyer. Well, one of the scenarios is, remember how we look for, here we are trading down below. Okay, let's see if we can hit 24. Okay, and then let's see if either we're going to resume the trend or if this is going to be a breakdown, trap these sellers, and then trade back up into our range. If that is the case, I'm actually looking for 32, 33 area to get tested. Okay, and that's based on looking at the if we reject this breakdown here, that's what we need to clarify first. That would be the scenario. Okay, and we're looking for this to be trap volume and then come back up and trade above this 32.5 area or so. Okay, and so far that scenario is not playing out yet. Okay, we're just trending lower. Okay, it might now we'll see the buyer step in probably right here. Okay, let's look for it. Okay, why do I say that? Because we exhausted out here. Okay, so if that scenario is going to play out, we're looking for it to play out now, and it doesn't. Okay, more selling. Right, that would have been hard to read right there in real time. I mean, it is just because they just came in and just swept the book out of the blue. Okay. Okay, here come the buyers though, right? Now we're going lower. Let's look for 60, 20 here. 62.20. Maybe, yeah, we might see the buyers. We got our double bottom here, and we're looking for that pattern of that exhaustion. Okay, and then to trade back into the range here. Okay, and we might get it here. Okay, nice little cluster of buying here. Okay, here they come. All right. Okay, above the swing here. Okay, 26. Okay, and let's see if we can, this is where we broke from here, around 26, 27. Okay, yep, sellers right back in. Okay, right back down to the lows. And more selling again. Okay, looks like 20's on the agenda here. Okay, what does it look like on our bigger picture? Okay, because we're seeing it. We're seeing some of the buy-in starting to step in. It's taken a little while here for this to turn around, but the sellers are certainly in control still. I mean, we can just look at the volume, and we can look at the liquidity here, and you know, they keep pulling at some of these areas as well. Okay, so here we are at 21. Here we go. Here's 20. Okay, there's our test at 20. Okay, are they absorbing this? Not really. Yeah, you want to center the dome, Carl? Yeah, just right click here on the price ladder and recenter. You can either recenter as none or last price. Recenter now, however you like. I have it on auto, so it's anything in my viewable range. Yeah, so another way is just zooming in, and it'll start to recenter. Yeah, now it's some features here that for the recentering. So if you don't like to see all of this price action within the viewable range, you can just recenter here on none, right? And then when we zoom in, or then you can hold down the control key as well when you're over the price ladder here. Hold down the control key, and my double-sided icon or arrow turns into a hand, and then I can scroll. Okay, so that's a good one as well. All right, a recenter on last price. And if you recenter on last price, note how this trade activity here is outside of the viewable range. Okay, now when I change it back to auto, that will come within the viewable range. Okay, and then you can also scroll vertically. So let's left click hold and then move the mouse up and down, and it will put this within my range. All right, so a bunch of different ways. Okay. All right, well, we tested 20, right? Now, what about 20 on the higher time frame? What's going on there? Okay, well, here's our swing down here. That's around 20. Okay. So we will probably see. Now we can even start to evaluate this this trend here. Here we go, down to 20, down below 19. Okay. Boy, nice move. Okay, we're going to see a pullback, I think, here now. Okay, let's see, where are we going to pull back to? Well, first area here is going to be 20. Okay, we almost got that. Okay, probably up a little bit higher, maybe 21. Okay, high liquidity at 17. All right, let's take a look. Let's still zoom out, bigger picture here. Okay, let's go to a 5-minute chart. And just so, because we're moving pretty quickly here, so we want to take a look at some of our higher time frame levels. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, we're going to see. Yeah. I mean, we've been trending pretty hard here. So right around 17 makes good sense. The volume profile guys are going to note that area as well. And then probably a few areas here on the higher time frame. 17, where we are right now, we saw the high liquidity there. Okay, POC of this range here, probably around 13 maybe. Okay, somewhere around here. There's going to be a bottom of this range here. I guess we'll just go with the 06 level. Okay, and retesting. Boy, that's a pretty strong trend to the downside. Maybe here, kind of looking around here, back at maybe 28, 29 level. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, here's a flip in the order flow here. Okay, starting to develop here. So note the change here. Okay, more buying at higher levels here, or more buying in the swing first. Okay, we're still holding the downward structure, right? And we're still making lower lows here. Okay, but we're starting to note some more buying, starting to step in here. Also, looking at our structure, how is it breaking down now? Okay, here's a nice breakdown from 20 down to 18. Okay, here's the latest breakdown to 17, below the swing here at what, 17 and a half or so. It's not much, right? And we're starting to see buyers come in. Okay, this is looking for a good. We're starting to note that we're making, lower lows, but it's starting to just be gradual. And we're starting to note the flip in the change in the order flow, okay, on the aggressor buyer side. Okay, so I'm looking for this not only to get tested, but probably even this higher level here at 20 and a half here. Okay, buyers are still, sellers are still in here. Okay, breakdown still 16. All right, so this is going to be the level where we got to see more buying above here at 19 and a half. Okay, and they're already lined up here. You see 148 contracts. All right, so looking for a test of this right now. Let's see if we can get up here and test this area here, and then let's see what the order flow tells us then. Also seeing a little bit of exhaustion here on the sell side around 16. No, we're squeezing lower still. Okay, still hasn't played out yet. Okay, that one more squeeze, and now it's looking pretty nice to, yeah, here we go. Okay, we're above this little swing at 18, still looking for this liquidity here to get tested. And let's see if maybe we can get a flip of the book as well. Okay, there we go. This is what we were looking for earlier. We just had one more rotation lower. Okay, now it's auctioning pretty nicely up here too with the buyers. Okay, so let's see if we can get a retest back to maybe here. If we can get it, and we'll see maybe the high liquidity here flip from the offer to the bid. Okay, and then we're looking for our earlier level here. Well, we're almost there at 23, and then 26 to get tested. All right. Okay, this is a nice like a short squeeze to the upside. Let's see if yeah, we're looking for 20 here to get tested now. Okay, also potentially 18 to get retested as well. Okay, but 20 looks pretty good. Okay, here come the buyers. All right, so more aggressive buying. Now we're putting these pieces together. We're seeing a flip of this order flow. Okay, and you know, we were looking for little pockets of it previously, but we really noticed the distinction here. This is where it started to occur. Okay, and we see the buying starting to trade here and more volume at this on this pullback here. Right now we squeeze lower once, twice, three more times, right, until they really stepped in, and it's really here at 18 where we have a little more insight. Okay, because we've seen this move happen a few times now, but we still haven't broken the structure. Okay, now we've broken the structure, right, and well, the real structure was broken here at 20. Okay, so your safest trades are up in these areas here. I know that you know, for that confirmation, you give up some of this price movement here, right? You know, that's just part of the risk that has to be taken. All right. You know, if there's other ways of you know that we've covered looking for, it's more risky, but you know, we're looking for exhaustion maybe down in this area, and we didn't get it here, right? It's still looking pretty good for actual. We're seeing the exhaustion here. Okay, so it's still trending, you know, to the downside. We noted here buyers starting to step in, and price has the potential to trade here now. Okay, that's what this means. That's the significance that it has, and it does. Okay, so but we're looking for areas of exhaustion down here within this trending environment, and that's why, you know, we've you know, drawn in some of these trends, kind of like this. You know, I'm looking at this area here. Okay, and yeah, you can draw it here as well, but we kind of broke it. We can go at this one here. We can go to this swing here, and we come right to it. In fact, all right. So now there's obviously more risk here. Okay, but there's reason to it. I mean, there's reason for you know, looking at some of these areas. Okay, let's see if we get a small micro retest of this area here. Okay, we usually do. Yeah, I mean, you can see it, right? I mean, it holds true. I mean, we see the cluster here. It could go either way at this point, but buyers step in here. Here's the retest here, and we don't see any selling. Okay, so we do see some exhaustion here. Now, this is 5 seconds of data between each vertical dotted line, so this happened really quickly. But we're seeing it, right? So you know, this is that pattern that we're you know, we're looking for, and then we're looking for the sweeping of the book higher with the aggressive buying. Okay, but we want to break some structure here first. All right. Okay. So we're just putting the pieces together, right? And you know, what is the market telling us? And it's showing us, and it's telling us with the structure. Okay, and the volume and the limit order book. Okay, we do get a little bit of a flip of the book here at 20, as you can see, but it's actually happening up here at our next swing, which was this area here around 23, right? And here it is. And we even see the breakout of 23 right here, or 22 and a half or so, right here. Okay, so then the next area we're looking at was 26, and we've already come up and tested it here. All right. So anyway, there's your setup for more kind of safer trade, and then looking for that pullback. But you give up all of this here. So looking for being more aggressive. I mean, that would be pretty aggressive because you just don't know how many sellers are actually here. Trading. So I mean, we could have that's the risk that you take. If we see this is a better example right here. And that's what is kind of funny, because this is actually kind of the area where we start to anticipate it, and it's giving us a better signal here. We just had one more squeeze to the downside here and really push these people out. But this is where it looks good here. This is the nice little pullback here, and we just see a little bit of selling here, right? We see a cluster of selling here, right? But it only broke down maybe 2 or 3 ticks below this swing here. Actually, it went down to here, the bid. So it went down maybe 2 or 3 ticks. Okay, and then we do see some selling here, but then we get our retest. Okay, at this point here, that would be the risk that you'd be taking with a more aggressive trade. We're looking for this activity down here, though, right? Or here at this area, and this would be the risk that you're taking. And then we're looking for the aggressive buying. We're looking for this action here. Was actually hoping for it to come up and test this area between 19 and 20 up here, okay, and test that liquidity here. Okay, we didn't get it. We got one more push to the downside, and then they really came in, and all of these guys are trapped. That's for sure. All right. Thanks, Carl. I really appreciate your comments there. Yeah, I mean, oh, don't worry about trying to get an ego about this. The real key here is to be objective. And what is the chart telling us? What is the market telling us? And we're looking for it. If it's not objective, then it doesn't have any worth. In fact, I've got to curb, I think, some of my language a bit and say, like, I'm anticipating this or that. I want to say instead, based on this, and this, we anticipate this or the potential scenario for this reversal to happen is here. Okay, that's what we're trying to piece together and this is just very objective information we're looking at from Bookmap here. And it's not an indicator, it's not some sort of like holy grail. It's just the market. We're really understanding the market activity, and that's the key here. Because if it's not objective, and we can't wrap maybe some strategies around some of that objective market activity, then what worth is it? And then you're just kind of hoping. But if we can really look at this and start to understand the market behavior, then and objectively do that, then we can start to understand the behavior that may occur afterwards. Okay. No, I really appreciate your comments. Thank you. Smoking a lot of hopium. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I mean, the risk is something that is just a part of trading. It has to be, okay, and small losses. I mean, it's just a part of it. I mean, this is I mean, really, it's a good example down here. This looks really good here, and we had one more push, okay, and then they just roared back in, right? you know, if this was the setup, and this is starting to look pretty good, and we've seen it where it has played out really nicely. Actually, it's actually right in this little area here, is in the POC probably of this little area here, and we can see it right here, right? We need to trade above this 18 and a quarter area, and we start to see them here with the aggressive buying step in. Okay, but then here is where we need to see the follow through, right here, and we just didn't get it. The sellers, you know, they came in and got one more push out of it to the downside. Okay, but this looks good, and you know, that would be you know, starting to understand the market and the sellers here, and areas of liquidity, high liquidity that we can see layered into the book as well, right? Yeah, well, that's what these webinars are for, is to go over this, start to comprehend how these markets trade, and start to look for this behavior, okay, and look for like who's in control here, and areas of you know, being a target here, that high liquidity that we can see here, okay. In fact, we don't even get a pullback in from this area here. Okay, I would anticipate based on what we know, we would start to anticipate a pullback in this area here if this liquidity trades, and it does look like it traded. Yeah, a lot of it traded here. Some of it traded, and then some of it was pulled. Okay, and this is a good example, great example of a sweep of the book of liquidity. Okay, this is usually how we trade to new levels. So understanding this behavior here is, and this is what we cover in that market or educational course. Okay, we start with behavior like this, price action like this, and understand its significance. It's not based on anything like candlestick patterns or whatever. We're really looking into like how the market really behaves. Like a bigger trader came in here and swept the book. Right? They just they took all the liquidity here. They say, you know, basically at this price level, what are you offering? I'll take it. At this price level, what are you offering? I'll take it. And they just continued on up. Okay, so now we're looking for, if that's the case, and this isn't a stop run or, you know, some sort of short squeeze, we're looking for a return maybe back to that area, and for them to support that. Okay, we don't even get it. Right? In fact, that's what we would anticipate or start to look for, and it just traded higher. So this is a pretty strong move, right? But looking for a retest of that area here, and we see them flip, you know, from the offer to the bid. Okay. All right. Let's see, Nick. Cumulative volume delta. Yeah. You know, the cumulative volume delta, like the way I've been covering this, you know, because I prefer to cover the not use the indicator, but to understand really here the traders in the order flow, and that gives us a better data or factual insight to what's going on. At least it looks, you know, it's more visual. It's easier to read that, I think, than the cumulative volume delta. But you can see here that CVD is actually giving us pretty nice read right here. Okay, the thing that's important to understand is why, right? Just because it gives some sort of indication here, so what? I mean, we want to know who's in control, and we want to understand what this means. Okay, just like some of these trend lines, what does it mean? You know, why is price accepting above a certain area? We want to understand that. Okay, and so putting significance on understanding what this means is going to be much more insightful and helpful than just looking at an indication, right? And so let's take a look at that, because here, and we can explain why, you know, this what sort of insight we got here from our CVD. Okay, well, it actually was covered. It happened here. The insight actually started to come here, noticing a shift here in the order flow. Okay, with these two in particular, these two little retests here. Okay, and starting to note that there's more buying coming in here now. Right, so the CVD is just adding. It's just accumulation of buyers and sellers, aggressive buyers and sellers. But we're starting to understand there's more buying here, right? So our CVD is starting to uptick, even though we're making lower lows here. Right here, we made a lower low, right? Okay, but our CVD made a higher low. So I mean, based on that, you know, and you like your CVD indicator. I mean, that could be a signal right there. This is a potential trade. We broke down below, but we're looking for the aggressor to come in, and they did. Okay, and we did test up here to almost to this 19.5 level. Okay, so this did work, right? But we're getting a bigger picture insight to really what this cumulative volume delta is plotting, and what it's telling us. We continue to make lower lows. We made a nice one here. Okay, but look at the low down here in the CVD. Okay, it did actually make a little bit lower low, it looks like. So, I mean, we can hover over that and find out exactly what the reading is, right? I think I need to go to the current market to be able to do that, though. So let's take a look here. Yeah, the CVD down here was, here it says negative 2,400, basically, right, in this lower left-hand corner here. Okay. And then what was it over here? Negative 23, negative 23.12 or something like that, right? And then this exactly was 23.39. So it did make a little bit lower low, but it made a nice lower low on price, right? So there's your divergence. But what does it mean? You know, understanding this shift here is where you're going to get the insight, right? Instead of like, you know, kind of blindly trading off of a CVD. I mean, heck, you know, many successful traders able to trade off of the CVD based on signals, right? Just if you manage your risk well and you know your expectancies on CVD, that might be enough. But really understanding this and understanding, you know, the market and really what occurred in some of these areas is, and you can put that together with your CVD. That's going to be a pretty nice nice package to put together. All right. All right. All right. Let's see here. You know, and then it's the same thing here that we cover value in a trend. You know, that with these trend lines, you know, starting to anticipate, you know, pullbacks because, you know, there's overextended valuation to the downside in some of these areas. Anyway, this has brought up a few questions here. So let me answer some of these questions and then we got to call it a day here. All right. Let's see. Nick, does that answer your question on the CVD? Okay, great. Yeah, you're welcome. And let's see, D, you have a question. As a member, where are there teachings that are not available to everyone? Well, this webinar is not available to everybody, D. Yeah, I'll reach out to you, D. That might be better. And we can go through some of that. But the educational course is something that God, I thought it. All right, I'll go through it with you, D. But yeah, it's that's not available to everybody. That's available to you guys, and it's not even advertised really. But it's for you, and the educational course. It's the same. We're going over the same information. We're seeing it in the live market here. So you know, you're really able to utilize that educational course now. Okay, because same stuff that's covered there is covered here, just like some of the things we just saw today. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up. We'll call it a day, and we will catch up with you tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. You guys can reach out to me at bruce@bookmap.com, and that would be just shoot me a really quick email, and as you as well, D. That would be great. Okay. I see your number as well, and yeah, we can go over it. Okay. Happy to go through it with you guys. Okay. All right. Yeah. Take care, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.